CWFUN streaming. I'm going to be streaming a little bit of my Roblox activity today, namely build a boat for treasure. Got some devices here that I like to build that some people have some confusion with. So I'd like to make a little informational video here for anybody that happens to watch it. Will already know the instructions for how to use these things, and not as many will end up broken and causing frustration. First thing to know, well, the device takes a long time to build. It's huge, has a lot of rings, kind of complicated. Everybody just needs to kind of hang out and be patient and let it build. The more you mess around with it, the more chance of stuff glitching. So we're just going to sit here and watch it build for a minute, and when it's fully done, then we'll go on. But in the meantime, because it is going to take a minute to build here, you notice up in the top, slightly to the right of the middle, it says loading boat, and you get the 3 little dots. Even after the color comes in, because I've painted it, so it's going to get all colorized here in a bit. But even after the color comes in, everybody seems to think, oh, it's ready. No, it isn't. You'll see how long that loading boat thing stays up there, even after the color comes in. Now, it is true that when the color comes in, some of them may be operational, but by operating one, you may be glitching others. So it's best just to let it completely load. Oh, and since this is Roblox, I'll try to keep this video as kid-friendly as possible. I'll try not to cuss too much or anything like that. Although this CWFUN Gaming is a, mostly adult-oriented gaming channel, but I occasionally played some kid-like games like this one. I like this one just for building the crazy rides and flying around in these little rings. Yeah, and this set of rides here, or this wheel launcher as I generally call it, it does take almost a full 5 minutes to load. This is something I think this particular game can work on. I don't know if it's just a Roblox thing, or if it's particular with the Build a Boat for Treasure, but man, these things, if you have very many pieces involved, they take forever to build. I have so many more pieces I could build with, but if I actually built something using most of my pieces, I have a feeling it would take about a half hour to load. Nobody wants to wait that long. Okay, now it's approaching completion. The color has come in. But you see the loading boat thing is still up there. It's still not done. Probably got another minute or so here. This is when everybody rushes out and starts grabbing stuff usually. Actually, a lot of times they don't even wait for the color to come in. They'll just try to do it right off the bat. Oh, okay. Well, let's start at the beginning here. I thought that my little instruction path here would be, visual instructions. Thought it might be fairly self-explanatory to most people, but, sometimes it may not be, I guess. My idea is, okay, starts out green line. Follow the green line to the part it touches. In this case, it's the boat, or the seat. Yeah, so step 1, hence the 1 there. Step 1 is get in the thing. because after step 2, it's going to be unstable. Step 2 is once you're up in the seat, I didn't bother to put that part here because it's not part of step 2 really. You're going to open the door. It can be kind of fiddly getting the pointer finger, highlighted on it. Once you open that door, that wheel is going to be unstable. You can knock it over sideways. And that's why you don't want to be trying to get into it after you've already opened that door. If it's already been lowered to the ground, because you'll notice these rings, they're actually suspended up off the ground by that trap door. Once it's lowered to the ground, you can put the door back up to hold it stable if someone else is trying to jump onto your ring or whatever and you don't want them to knock it over. Put that door back up before they go trying to jump in, and then take it back down again before you launch. Sometimes these doors, they don't drop the ring the first time you use them. Sometimes you'll have to use it 2 or 3 times to get it to drop the ring. Usually that's all you have to do though. That's the only major glitch that seems to be going on right now. Otherwise, most of them will drop the first time. Okay, so step 1, get in the seat. Step 2, only to be completed after step 1, is open the red door. Step 3 is going to be to use the bottom thruster first. Now, of course, on the test rig here, you can't actually use them because it's still attached to the ground. When a thruster is not attached to the ground, it can be used. The reason you're going to want to use the bottom thruster first is if you notice the way these are built, that bottom thruster, when you activate it, it's just going to push you back into the launcher and hold you steady until you fire the top thruster. So you can have both thrusters going at once, creating a nice centripetal effect, you might say. And so, of course, after step 3, hitting the bottom thruster, comes step 4, hitting the top thruster. Notice how the green lines connect to the part that needs to be activated in that step. I thought this might be self-explanatory. It doesn't seem to be working though, unfortunately. Also, something else that I thought would be self-explanatory but doesn't seem to work. I guess a lot of people don't read English or something in this game, but first, second, last. First row on the bottom, please use these first. Once they've all been used up, or someone has messed one of them up by using the thrusters in the wrong order, or not opening the door before they use the thrusters, or a myriad of things they can do wrong. Once they're all done on the bottom, then we come up to the second row and we start using these rings. Once all the rings are gone, or disabled in one way or another, then we go up to the big ball on top here, which is just 3 interposed rings. It's exactly like the other rings there, except for it's 3 of them interlaced here. Once we go up to this one, you will notice that there is a block connecting it to solid ground still. This item cannot be used until I, the creator, come and delete that block. I've had so much trouble with people trying to use this first and being rude to everybody else. It's got 7 seats. It's got enough seats for everybody on the server. Our server only holds up to 7 people. This holds 7, so everyone on the server, if they're on the white launch here, they can all fit in it. And this is supposed to be the finale. After all the rings are launched, we all get into the ball up here. Once everyone's ready, and please be patient with them, then I will release the red block there, and we will be able to release the trap door. Because you notice right now, you can release that door all you want. It isn't doing anything because it's still attached. Thrusters will not work. Trapdoor will not release it. Don't bother trying. Okay, so that's the instructions covered. Now, some of you may not be familiar with these rings. Others I know are. So I will give a quick demonstration of what these rings can do when done right. And bear in mind, there is a lot of luck involved in this because, one little rock in the wrong spot can throw you off. But if everything's done right, it should look something like this. And there's the gear room. The first thing that'll mess you up with these, if you run into the gears on the walls, most rooms have smooth walls and it won't be a problem, but in the gear room, if you hit the wall, it could be a problem. But not a big deal. I died. Oh well. Go back, grab another one. Wash, rinse, repeat. You know how it goes. So, that one didn't make it very far, or, well, it might have floated a ways further, but it had lost momentum, so I don't usually bother with them much after that. If you've still got momentum, you're still rolling, keep going. If you've landed on your side and you're close to the end, go ahead and keep going. Oh, here we go. Here's an example of when the door didn't work the first time. So I'm just going to close it, and then open it again, and there it worked. And we're on our way. See if we can get a little bit better run this time. Oh yeah, sometimes you're going to hop over these, and unfortunately you don't get money credits when you hop over them. So it's only the obstacle rooms that you actually go through that you make gold for. Now this one I may float through a little bit here. These rings aren't real durable, so I wouldn't count on them making it to the end if you're just floating on your side like this. Actually, I wouldn't count on them making it very far at all. But they can take a few obstacles. Now see here, I'm close to the crusher room. You can see the giant boulder over here. That tells you you're next to the very last main obstacle. The next obstacle after this one really is, well, sometimes there's just little rooms. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. These things aren't strong. Sometimes there's another little room after that one that's just, you know, a few rocks here and there. And then after that it's going to be the big waterfall with the spikes at the bottom. So if you make it near to the crusher room, hey, you land on your side at that point, you might try making it through. Sometimes there's a clear enough path, sometimes there isn't. But usually, you know, if you're still just in the first few rooms and you've already landed on your side, then just hop out and grab another. Okay, cleared the gears, still staying low. This is looking like a pretty good run. Oh, jump out, Dan. Okay. Well, I tried to jump out and still make the beach because it looked like it was going to jump over there, but I mean, they're all, every run in these things is like a snowflake. They're all different. And another thing I should explain is people keep hitting this thing. There's no water needed for this. This green button over here is completely useless. Please do not use it when this thing is out and built, because it's just an annoyance and it makes people have to reset their characters if they're trying to build stuff and things like that. It's just annoying. Don't use the water, please. As you can see, it's very much not needed. Okay, let's see if we can get one of these rings at least to the end here before we conclude the stream. This is just a little introductory test stream to... oh well. That one wasn't going to the end. This is just a little test stream here to, you know, well, not so much a test stream. I know it should be streaming all right, but it's to public service message for people playing this game. If you come on and you see Groovy88 and he's building his big machines, just be patient, let him build, and try to behave, because I know there's a lot of kids that come on here and stuff, and I'll try to, you know, be patient with everyone. But if people are just, you know, being jerks and, you know, building on my stuff and things like that and causing it to glitch because they add extra blocks or thrusters and stuff, if that happens very much, I'm just going to leave and take my toys with me, you know. So please behave when you're on here, and I'm building these things for you guys to play with. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if we can get one over. This one doesn't seem to usually like to go well. Yeah, that left purple one, I don't know. For some weird reason, these things are built perfectly balanced, even and everything, but they seem to like to veer off to the left, or, sorry, to the left a little bit. Because the black ring, when launched on the bottom, it's the same distance from the right side as the purple ring is from the left, but it goes off to the left and doesn't usually have any problem with hitting the sidewall there. Whereas the purple one on the far left here, it seems to always want to veer slightly over to the left there, and that can be a problem. This one shouldn't veer over quite as far. And some people will be tempted to think that the ones that are right in the center are going to be the best, and, well, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Sometimes you'll get one on the side that... Okay, here's another glitch that happens sometimes. These things will sometimes stick in the scenery. I don't know why, but yeah, it's stuck there now. Okay, so just jump in the water. Or, you know, hit escape and reset character, whichever works. Yeah, big red sign up there that says last, yet so many people still try to go up there first. There we go. See, when it glitches like that, I think some people get impatient with it and they go and unlock it and jump off and, I don't know, mess with it in some way, thinking it's not going to work. Or sometimes when it glitches like that, that's when they try to push this button over here to launch because they think it's not working because it needs to launch, but it's not. Just use the door again. And I got bounced back. Yeah. Okay. Next. Here, let's do it the quick way. Yeah, what do you do when you have, I don't know, how many of these I got? I got 2,582 of those left, 3,000 of those, 1,000 of those, you know. Got a lot of blocks here, but if I put any more out than I've already got out here, it's just going to take forever to build. I've already got the paint, so what do I spend this gold on here? Since there's no point in putting more blocks out, because it's just going to take longer to build. Oh well, maybe eventually there will be something to use it for. Still hoping for one of these to make it to the end. Usually, you know, I get at least 1 out of 10 or so makes it to the end. This is looking decent. We're being held straight up by the walls. I hit the tower. Dang. Oh, it was starting to be a decent run. Oh, and if you guys haven't already, become a member of the game page there in Roblox if you haven't already, and if you play the game much, because once you become a member, you'll make more gold each time through. So if you're struggling to make enough gold to buy the parts you want, you know, become a member. Given time, you'll become a royal member, and you'll be making double gold on your runs. So actually, it's slightly more than double gold. But anyway, it's a good idea if you feel like doing it and know how to do that. I'm not going to go through explaining the whole process right now, though. Well, it's not too much of a process, but it can be a little confusing sometimes. Well, I think I might finish off this bottom row here at least. Hopefully one of these makes it. If not, I may try 1 or 2 from the next row up. But if none of those make it, I'm just going to go to the ball. And the ball, it's got a a mega thruster on there just to help it have extra speed, but sometimes that can make it a little too unstable as well. People always want to use the mega thrusters on things, but if something's too light, those mega thrusters just make it unstable, and you'll be more likely to have problems. Oh dang. That was so close. Made it to the lava room. Okay, let's go grab another one. Now, when you get 7 people on here who actually know how to use these things and use them right, they can go pretty quick. It's not too long until you get to riding the big ball up top if everybody on here is using these right. You'll see a lot of people that just use the top thruster first. And yeah, it'll get you a ways, and sometimes it'll even do good, but it's just, you don't develop the momentum of using both thrusters. And if you think you're going to use that bottom thruster later, while you're still spinning to keep you spinning further, yeah, that's not going to work. By the time you get a chance to use that bottom thruster, if you use the top one first, by the time you get a chance to use the bottom thruster, you're probably going to be laying on your side or at some weird angle to where that thruster isn't really going to give you much forward momentum. It's better to just use the bottom one and the top one right off the get-go. And please respect other people's wishes if they don't want you to ride with them in a ring. I know I put a couple seats in each of the rings in case people do want to ride together. But if they don't want to ride together and they want to just ride by themselves, please respect that and don't mess with their ring. And please don't build onto my structures either. This thing can be a lot of fun if everybody just, shows each other a little bit of respect. Okay, well this one's obviously not going to make it to the end. So it'll be half dead before it even reaches the crusher. Now getting through that crusher room with these is the hardest part, really. So many times if that wall, sometimes in the crusher room there's a wall, sometimes there isn't. But if that wall is in there, a lot of times it'll knock you back, and good luck after that. But sometimes the wall is already moving because someone else has floated down there if you're on a public server. Right now I'm on a private server just so I don't get interfered with while I'm trying to make the video. But if you're on a public server, oh, where was I going? Brain lapse. Okay. Anyway, if you're on, oh yeah, that's where I was going. If you're on a public server and someone else has gone ahead of you, ooh, this is shaping up to be a good run. And oh, we made it through there. Here we go. Boom. Oh my gosh. Son of a biscuit muncher. I don't know. Yeah. So we almost hit the end there. We missed it by a few feet. That would have been a pretty good run. So you can see how random it is, how much luck's involved, but also, well, let me do a demonstration of what can happen. Actually, I don't want to do it on this black one. This black one sometimes has really good runs from this side for some reason. Of course, now that I've said that, everybody's going to be using the black ones first, but whatever. I don't care. It's not like I need the money. Not in the game, at least. Clear the wall, please. And lost all our momentum. Okay. Well, like I said, sometimes it can have a good run. Oh, just hurry up. Well, that is one of the other things of becoming a member or royal member. I think it actually increases your health as well. So it may take you a little bit longer to die once you jump in the water. Of course, I can imagine with if you're a really new player to the game and you're trying to get as far as you can and you're not having very much luck getting very far, maybe being a member and having a little more health can help get you a little further, you know? And no, I am not affiliated with the creator of the game in any way. I'm just someone who enjoys the game and like more respectable people to play it and have fun playing it. Lava, no. What are those little spiky things in lava? Those don't seem to disintegrate like rocks do. Nice thing if you're on your side floating through this cannon right here is on your side like this, normally you're a little too low for those things to really hit. Although, I guess one got a lucky shot because I'm right in the middle, kind of their prime range. If you're over by either one of the sides very close, they usually won't hit you. But anyways, you've seen, you know, that it's possible to get to the end in one. I may not have gotten to one in that bottom row, which is, I guess, actually, I've used 14 of them now and still haven't made it to the end. Not a good run today. But I'm going to go jump in the ball and then take that out for a spin and we'll wrap this up here. Now normally, I'm breaking my own rule here, but I'm by myself so it's okay. Normally we do not use the ball until all the rings are gone. Now, here's where something complicated comes in sometimes. People get up here, get frustrated that they can't launch the ball, and so they hit the green button over here to bring the water. Now, you know what that does? Here, I'll show you. Oh, there goes all my tools that were down here. So now, I cannot free the ball to allow you to launch. So bringing the water when you're frustrated with the ball up here is not the thing to do, because that makes it to where you're guaranteed to have to wait longer to launch the ball, because I have to go and reset my character before I can have my tools back to be able to delete the block we need to remove to launch the ball. As much as people just get stupid over the ball up there, I'm tempted to either just add a whole row of them or just start making them all the ball. I don't know. Suggestions, you know, down below if you think I should just make them all balls or, you know, leave a bunch of the rings, because I can fit a lot more rings than I can of these balls here. So if I made it all these 3 rows, I'd probably fit what, maybe 7 per row. So I might be able to make 21 or so of these. But as it is, we've got 24 rings and the ball for the finale, and I kind of like it that way. Anyway, let's go ahead and delete that block. Now, get in the chair. Okay, now that I'm in the chair, block's deleted, it can be released, and here we go. This one can sometimes have some pretty good runs. It tends to stay a little lower than the wheels, which is good. Doesn't bounce out the top as much. Oh, not bad, not bad. Okay, well, you see I'm not kidding. We can have some good runs here. What was that, about 15 seconds or so it took to get to the treasure chest? And we went through all the chambers, so I believe I should make 225 on this one. Yep, 225 gold. And that's with being a royal member. So, guys, that is the Groovy Games giant wheel launcher. Let me go ahead and clear this out. I also have some other things I've built. I'll go ahead and show you those real quick before we close out of the stream here. These are the ones that for now I'm just loosely calling the bowling balls, because they're all, well, you'll see once the paint comes in. For some reason, these do not tend to operate as well as the one on the top of the ring launcher, but I'm not sure exactly why that is. They're built exactly the same as that one. Maybe that height before the drop off is kind of beneficial for that one. I'm not sure. So maybe if I put just the ring balls like this on a whole row of them on the top of the ring launcher, maybe they'll work better from up there. I'm not sure. But as you can see, these look like they're done, but I still got the loading boat up here. There we go. Now it's done, because these aren't near as complicated as the other one. Here we go. And see, these ones have a tendency to go up to the side like that for some reason. But you can still have a pretty good run in them. Can. Not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in here. These slightest little misangle can throw you right on out. And it can be kind of hard to get out of these sometimes. Just keeps wanting to throw you into another seat. Okay, so that's the big ring launcher, the bowling balls. Let's see what else we got. Ah, yes. Okay, this one is essentially like a catamaran. I don't know if any of you are familiar with a catamaran, but it's a boat that has two hulls that are separated by a gap, and they split the water quite nicely. They can travel with very little friction in a straight line, so they can work quite good on here. Although I need to redesign this one a little bit because I need to get all this low stuff out of the middle. Need to make it a little bit taller so that this whole center area will actually clear all the rocks. Some of the taller rocks will actually hit some of this stuff over here once we get going. But other than that, what this does is it gives you a nice wide base, so you're nice and stable widthwise. But on the surface, where the rocks are at, you essentially only have 2 blocks wide. You're only 2 blocks wide as far as rocks are concerned, and those are 2 individual areas. So it travels pretty well, doesn't hit too many rocks or anything, mostly steers between them pretty good, so kind of like that. And this one here, you know, because it's still a work in progress, it has to have a section deleted before it will actually work, just to stop people from taking off before it's ready, you know. And so here we sail. Let's go ahead and just use the thruster for now. Why did that go sideways now? No idea. But anyway, sometimes the game does weird things. Let's try this again. Because this one should not be twisting sideways like that. I don't know if maybe the game creator can tell us, but if he happens to see this video, I doubt it. But if he does, maybe he can tell us if there's like little eddies in the water out here or something sometimes. Or what's going on there with why a boat that has a thruster evenly spaced in the middle, is perfectly lined up with the middle of the course, has perfectly balanced build left side to right side, one side cannot weigh more than the other, everything is centralized and balanced, how a central thruster can send you off so far to the side. I don't get it. Now, it doesn't always do that, but it does sometimes. Okay, this time we go mostly straight, still veering a little bit though. Oh, we got upside down now. Oh, wait, no, we flipped back over. And see, I need to make the middle a little taller because these gears here are tall enough to hit a lot of these things in the middle. But for the most part, it does steer its way through pretty well. Again, not the easiest one to jump out of. Let's go ahead and just reset here. Okay, let's load. Let's go ahead and load the flagship here. Now this is what I'm calling the flagship for the Groovy Games. The Groovy Games is kind of my name that I've given to the collection of rides and stuff that I've created. It's I don't know if anybody's ever watched Flugtag or anything like that, but it's kind of along those lines, you know. With the flagship one here, when I build this, usually it's for everybody else to build weird contraptions of their own and stuff back in this area. Lots of room back here to build. And then we kind of go down the river as a big procession of crazy contraptions, you know. So that's kind of the idea behind the whole Groovy Games boat here. It's just to attract attention, because once the paint comes in, you'll see it's got a pretty flashy paint job. At least I like to think so. And then again, I built it, so, you know, maybe I'm just flattering myself. I know I'm flattering myself with the game title, you know, there. Putting a big old deal up there that says Groovy Games. Okay, now, I don't know how well this is going to come across in the video, but if you can see, we've got flames back here. And of course, once we start sailing out down the water, or the water comes, because this one does require a launch, someone should be sitting here in the frontal throne area, and that person will activate the orange launcher, or the orange thruster, sorry. And you'll have some cannons there to shoot rocks out of the way and help the thing keep going straight and things of that nature. Plenty of seats along the side to rescue drifters if your vessel is up ahead of us and, you know, you race on ahead and your vessel starts failing. You can always come back and hop on here and you may still make it to the end. But I'll usually come sit up here as long as there's someone to run that front thruster. Shortly after they hit the front one, I'll hit these two thrusters. And when that fire from that thruster starts going out along here while you're moving down the water, it looks pretty cool. It makes it look like a huge flame. And in case people want to do teams, you know, we've got the black and white team over on the right and the purple and green team on the left. You know, I affectionately call them the classics for the black and white, and the jokers for the purple and green. And, you know, it's the Groovy Games. Come have fun, you know, do whatever. When I'm loading this boat, I don't really care what everybody else is building along with it. Build onto it too if you want, but just on the top. Don't add stuff on the sides that might end up sticking into the ground and causing it not to travel properly, anything like that. I'll launch that front thruster, get up in my chair, get the other two. And then there's the Groovy Games. Let me take a little screenshot. Okay. And we got twisted sideways. Oh well. Doesn't really matter. This thing's here to kind of help clear a path for those coming behind, things of that nature. Oh, and the way I do the paint here is just when you got a block, if you're working on a computer, I don't think it works very well on tablet, but on computer you can go halfway down a block and place a block askew from it, and if you do that within a framework, like you make a straight up line and a straight sideways line, you come into that corner and you do halfway down, it'll make half layers all the way along, to where every one of these big square blocks, you know how it likes to go into 4 blocks, each one of those is actually more like 8 blocks, because they're half and half. See how we get these half a block height lines here that you can kind of see? That's because everywhere in here, I went in this corner, I went along this wall until I could only see the top half of the block, and then clicked. And then you click on the edge of that top half of a block, and you can keep going in a row down here. Another half row, another half row. You keep building it like that. One, it makes it really strong. You'll notice none of these squares have really taken any damage yet, except for the little wooden angle piece in the front there. But the solid block areas haven't taken any damage yet, because each 4 blocks is almost like 8 blocks, because it's doubled up everywhere. But that allows you, if you're careful when you go into paint on a single layer, because they will pull color from other blocks near them of a color. So you go in, you paint the outer edges and fill the whole thing in one color. Make sure you're getting every alternating layer, and then you go in, pick another color that will stand out or contrast with it, put it in there, go through. I don't know why these ones stayed solid, but you know, sometimes it's not a perfect system, but you can make some pretty nice effects with it. Okay, so much for the flagship boat. Hope you guys liked that. Let's go ahead and reset here. Some drink of water. Okay. Let's see, I got one contraption left to build. And this is the one I call the Illuminati Mystery Box. Now I prefer if everybody, you know, when I'm building this one, I prefer if everybody just kind of stays back here and doesn't try to play around on it, but of course, it's a public server, you can't expect everybody to behave. I'll try to refrain from making any more comments about modern parenting or anything of that nature right now. You'll notice all the spaced armor. It's to protect from explosions and things of that nature, and the alien room. Having the space between the armor actually seems to help quite well. Was I pushing that to talk? Yeah, I was. I was using my TeamSpeak push talk button to talk on here, even though I don't need it. Let's see. Tell me I got that painted by the time this is fully done. Let it finish loading here and see if that block's still gray, because it should not be. It is, though. Okay, let's go ahead and save that again then. They fixed the paint on there. Sorry guys, didn't realize I had paint missing on there. Little Illuminati symbol on the front, you know. That's kind of to distract people, but the way in is right here. And okay, this thing, it's a puzzle box. Unless you've watched this video and you know the instructions, you probably won't find your way into it, although a couple people have figured it out. One, you come in here. Also, when you're going into this thing, please close every door behind you. I know it can be difficult, but please do it. Door's closed. From here, you're going to want to go into first-person view. See the door, come out in the hallway, close the door. Face the inner wall, turn, face the inner wall, walking sideways, holding the D button or the A button, but you're facing a wall and walking sideways. If you try to walk straight, you're just going to get locked in. Yeah, face the inner wall and walk sideways. Close the door behind you. Face the inner wall, walk sideways. Once you see this white wall section, you know you're close, and then the green door, and you're in. And this boat here is pretty much a guaranteed ride to the end. This may take a few minutes because there's no thrusters or anything fancy like that on here. It's just a 3-lock box, as I call it. There's 3 layers of spaced armor around the central chamber, or the sanctuary, or whatever you want to call this in here. Yeah, I'll be ready for a slow ride here, but after this the stream will be over, so the waiting will be done. And you can leave now if you want, it don't matter, but if you want to see if it makes it, stay tuned. I'm probably not going to be doing a whole lot of commentary at this point, just going to be letting it drift down the river. I'm going to take a few vapes on my electronic cigarette here. We will eventually take some damage in this thing, but usually from inside, even by the time we reach the end, you usually won't be able to see out anywhere. There will be no breaches in the inner sanctum. Coffee, good stuff. Gotta have that Java. Okay, well, you can see the, oh wait, tornado hit me. Oh, it actually killed me in here. Okay, so not a guaranteed ride to the end. Things that somehow a tornado made out of wind, even though there's no holes in the thing for wind to come through, still pulled me out of there. So, yeah, okay. There's that. But let's say it's a 98% guaranteed. Something around there. It will make it to the end. Maybe not every passenger if you happen to be the unlucky one that gets pulled out by a glitch like that. But for the most part, it's going to make it to the end. The only room you might have trouble with is tornadoes and the aliens. I don't know what all them alien beams do. Maybe they abduct you straight out of the thing through walls and all that. I don't know. But if they can do that, then there's nothing you can build that can protect you from them. So this is about as good a chance as you're ever going to have, is the Illuminati device. Anyway, guys, this is Groovy88 for CWFUN Gaming, and you have a good day.